those. But my goal, my passion would be to bring pre-med students, med students, residents with me on these trips. That's something I really enjoy. And so I'd like to align myself in such a way that I get people to go with me. There are a lot of places that do a lot better than Greenville. And so if you're really interested in this kind of thing, as y'all get farther along, look at the medical schools, look at the residency programs that have this. And you have to ask that question. But some places like Vanderbilt, somebody is going to Vanderbilt, or no, you are looking at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had this great program set up with Susie Snyder, and Susie Snyder worked in Kenya, and I've been talking with her via email. She's not there anymore, but their med-peds residents would go out there and work out in Kenya. She'd actually have medical students come out with her too. But I went to the Vanderbilt's website the other day, and they have a lot of international programs that they're set up. So picking a place like that, about half the residency programs I looked at and medical schools said, no way, sorry, you just can't leave. Because the Medicare pays resident salaries, and so they want you to take care of Americans. They don't want to pay you to go off to another country and take care of people in Kenya or Brazil. And so you have to follow the money. You have the answer to any question along those lines. So, other questions?
Where's been your favorite place to go?
I love Brazil. Brazil is fun. Go there, just go there on a vacation. I mean, you go do a mission trip, sure, but people in Brazil are a lot of fun. And Honduras is pretty good too. Latin America, just anything Latin America, South America, the people are really a lot of fun. In Kenya, it was just that people are a lot more fatalistic, and there was something I talked towards is that there's a barrier between by the fact that I'm looking around in the room, and almost everybody has white skin. And so by getting off the plane, you're automatically a Mzunga, and a Mzunga means white person. You can be black and be a Mzunga. And so and we had friends with us, but it's easier for them to hide it, put on their African garb or whatever, and pretend like they're not Mzunga. But as soon as the Kenyan talks to you, they know you're Mzunga. And if you have Mzunga, you have money. And if you have money, they want it, or they want something from you, I should say. So everybody in Kenya, every single person I encountered in Kenya, every Kenyan asked me for something except for one. One just actually acted like she would be our friend. But even my friend with the bachelor pad still asked me for something. Oh, he asked me to send him money. So it's difficult in those regards. It was difficult for me to answer your question in Kenya because I was a Mzunga. And so every place we went, we came with celebrity status in a sense. And just imagine if you're a rock star. If you're Bono and you walked in the room right now, none of us would want to know Bono. We want Bono's signature, and wanted to. We don't want to sit down and hear his story, just hang out with him. Well, maybe we do, but then we're going to leave and tell everybody, "Gosh, we've got to hang out with Bono." And it's not just that he was a regular guy. We have to hang out with Bono, So that makes any sense. So yeah, in Brazil, that was not as much of an issue for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah.
Have any tips on how to interact with the people you're working with through an interpreter? Any tips or suggestions, or how do you go about that? Or should you slow down? Should you repeat yourself? So tips on how to relate through an interpreter.
You hit the nail on the head already, and that's speak really slow. And my Brazilian friends don't like me very much because they like, you talk too fast. And so I've had to really work on my language, slowing it way down. But then the other thing I already said is humility. Goes a real long way. And Brazilians in particular really like the fact that you're humble. You ask them their opinions, and Kenyans too. Here's something I learned, and that's that and this is something I didn't appreciate, but you know how people will throw you hints, and that's learn the language. I didn't say this. Somebody asked a question earlier. This really applies. I think one of you all asked me, what would you do differently, or how would you prepare yourself? That's what you asked. And that's learn the language. One of the books, and actually it's not in that list, that I found had like 200 phrases that you should learn before you go ahead of time. But really, if you are going to Costa Rica, you need to know basic Spanish. Hi, goodbye, how are you, what's your name, my name is. All these things, you should know that. That should be a requirement Before I went to Kenya, I should have not only read the cultural books, but I should have learned some basic phrases because it means so much. So I haven't learned any Portuguese, and the reason why is because I took Spanish in college, and I work at my pediatric clinic primarily with Spanish-speaking patients. About half of them are, and so I've been trying to learn Spanish. So I haven't learned any Portuguese. And my friend, who I go with, has worked really hard on when he's there on learning Portuguese. And they always say, "Why aren't you learning our language? Why aren't you working on this?" And they always ask that question. But what they're trying to say is it really means a lot to us if we can speak our language, and as it would to us if people came over here and was really working on it. So I think that's important to in speaking through a translator to really value their opinion, and do like my friend who's the pediatrician when he realized, they probably know a lot more than you do about what the Costa Ricans need and what the Costa Ricans have been through, and you're there to help out in any way possible. But I don't know, does that help out? Yeah.
If you don't mind, if I could add to that, if you have a Spanish translator, you should talk to the patient, not to the translator, which
That's a great
makes them
point.
inherent. But instead of if she's the patient, if you're the translator, I don't want to say, "How are you feeling today?" I'm asking you how you're feeling. So.
And that's something I still make that mistake today, because when you're trying to move fast, just ask the patient this, that kind of thing. So it is difficult. But Dr. Smith will give you my email address, and I would be happy to talk to any of you that are interested in doing trips. I'll be doing trips in the future. My next official trip, I might go with my church to Guatemala, but in terms of, it'll be about a year from now when I return to Brazil, and I would definitely be open to taking you with me as long as we can get through everybody, all the powers that be. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, you can always send me emails. I just wish I got some of this information a long time ago, personally, to better prepare myself, like for Kenya and things like that. So, and any questions afterwards if y'all want to ask me. So, thank y'all.